Hello. Good morning, everybody. A exciting Facebook Live today because we are doing kind of a live audience, which I'll show you here in a second. Can we say hello? Here, let me switch. Get Christian wrong view. I'm getting there slowly, very slowly, apparently. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do it, but let's see it over here. Hey, everybody. Hello. We got team members here. We got some guests. And we're going to go over a master script that Christian here uses in the Florida market to communicate with sellers, to guide them through a process to where they're willing to work with their team and actually formulate a win-win agreement and actually sign a contract to do the wholesale deals that they're doing, again, in the Florida market. So Christian, can you take some time just to do a quick introduction of yourself, bring people up to speed, and tell them a little bit of what you got going on?
Yeah, sure. So I was born in Colombia. I lived there till I was about 7 years old. Then moved to Jersey. Grew up there for a few years. Finally, my family got tired of the cold weather, and we moved down here to the Orlando area. Graduated from here. When I graduated, I went into the fire academy, and I became a firefighter. I did that for 12 years, from 2006 until 2018, when I finally quit and I went 100% into real estate. I got started in real estate back in 2015. I started working first as a dispositions manager, and then as a acquisitions manager for another wholesale company in Orlando. Uh, After 2 years working for them, I met two people. We became partners, and we branched off and started our company in 2017. 2017, it was just the three of us, and we had one acquisitions manager. We did $130,000 in revenue. 2017, 2018, scaled, and we did 1.4 million.
Hell yeah.
2019. Yeah, 2019 was a step back. The entire team left uh, to do their own thing, pretty much. I parted ways with my other two partners. We still did about 800,000 in revenue. Uh, and then 2020, last month we acquired 292,000 in deals just for the first month. This month we're around 137. So it's my team's starting to pick up and get to where we were back in 2018.
Well, very exciting. We are excited to go into this. And to everybody that's watching, we actually already did a Facebook Live just a few days ago. And in that conversation, we really went into the whole journey that you had, Christian, from kind of those early days in the firefight as a firefighter, and then all the way to now. We talked about how 2019 was kind of a get back to the fundamentals year and really prepare to springboard into 2020. So that was a great conversation. Go into our Facebook group, Deep Dive Wholesale, to check out that last Facebook Live. But before we get into this script, which I'm pretty excited about, what I want to do is just do a few shout outs to everyone that's in here. Ranjit just jumped in here. He said, hello, good morning. Keisha also said good morning, so it's good to see you. Thank you for jumping in. Leslie, I hope you're doing well. She says nice. And Tom says powerhouse people right there. It was great to see Tom in Vegas when we were there. We got a few other people: Sergio, Devin, Julian, Alex, Anthony, Daniel, Manuel. Anthony says hello from Naples, Florida, so you two should connect. I don't know if y'all know each other, maybe not. Anthony Rodriguez, so look him up in the comments, Christian. We also have Kimberly and Mike that jumped in. And then again, I figured out my camera, so we'll try this one more time. We got everybody here. Can y'all say hello? Good morning. Yeah, look at that. They're still waking up. We're getting the coffee going. So, okay, let me kind of transition to my screen here. And what I'm going to show is our this script. So let me just kind of transition here. Let's see if I can pull this up. Does that come up on the screen? On the Facebook Live? Let's see. There we go, yes. So this is the script. You can follow all of Christian on all the different social medias. He's got an awesome Instagram. Check out his YouTube channel. He's been posting some vlogs recently. And I know on one of your more recent YouTube posts, you were kind of just talking about how you're documenting what you're doing with your team and how you're growing and making 2020 an impactful year. And then obviously you're on Facebook too.
Yeah, so part of my vlogs are gonna be just following around as I rebuild my company. My goal this year is to do 3.3 million. So it's just gonna be fun, just watching.
Hell yeah. Okay. So let's go into this script. We're going to be sharing this script with anybody and everybody who's on this Facebook Live. So just make sure to comment and we will make sure to get this over to you. But can you just walk us through this script and what this is? I'm just going to let you take the lead here and just guide us through what this is and how you even developed it and why it's important for your team.
Sure. All right. So one thing, my team closes all our deals over the phone. We don't go to meet with sellers in person. Only time, every once in a while, we do have to go meet with a seller to get a contract signed. But we don't do. But that's just to get the contract signed. It's not to have a conversation. All negotiation is done over the phone. Price is agreed. There's just older people that don't have email and stuff, and sometimes most of the time we usually just mail it to them, but every once in a while we get somebody that's like, hey, I just want you to come get it. If it's outside of Orlando where we are based out of, then all we do is we just hire people to go ahead and go pick up the contract for them, and then they FedEx it right back to us. But everything is done over the phone. That's how we're able to go virtually into other markets. In the script, I'm going to break it down, but it's the same as if you were sitting in front of the seller. It's just a matter of how you ask the questions that really, really helps. A lot of people always freak out saying, how are you able to do it over the phone? How are you able to see the property? We don't have to see the property, just get an idea from what the homeowner has of the condition of the house. So questions about condition and different things are very important to go ahead and ask, but there's also a report in there. So, are you guys looking?
So say that again?
Do you guys have the script in front of you?
We do. We got the script. I got it on the screen. The people here have one printed in front of them, so we're ready to go into it.
Cool. So the first part is setting the stage. So whenever somebody calls, the first thing is, a lot of times since the phone call starts with, hey, I got a postcard or I got a phone call, says you're interested in buying my house. What's your offer? So don't get deterred by that question and fall into the trap of, okay, let's talk about price. Let's talk about this. It's very important that when you're buying over the phone or anytime you're talking to the seller, you control the conversation. So first part is, as soon as they say, no matter what they say, my team goes, okay, great. So our process is really simple. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by asking a few basic questions about the property. Then I'll go in, evaluate it, and I can give you an offer. It's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes. Is that all right with you? Do you have that time available? All right. So we want to make sure that they're not going to rush off the phone in the middle of the conversation. If it's not a good time for them because they're driving or their kids are in the background screaming, you don't want them to be in that mindset because they're not going to focus on the conversation with you. Because what you want to do in this conversation is once you build rapport, you want to get them into the state of mind of feeling of understanding what their motivation is, right? That pain point that they're having, you want to bring it up to the surface and have them feel those emotions of, I don't want to deal with this, I don't want to do that, so that everything can come out. So once you say that, then we also kind of put a little disclaimer to let them know, because a lot of people, when they call, they think that just because we sent out marketing or contacting them that we're going to pay whatever price they want. So we just tell them, look, we are a real estate investment company. So we don't buy every house that we look at, but if it's not a good fit for us, we do have a team of realtors and that can give you retail price that will be a good fit. Does that make sense to you? And you want to say yes, because that way you can always throw leads over to any realtors that you have that you pair up with. With me, my company, we are a brokerage. So I have a retail agent and we send it off to them. Like right now, we have 3 listings that came from seller leads. That so
Hey, so I'm just
uh,
going to jump in really quick. I just wanted to point out, so I love this opener that you have in this script. I think it's absolutely powerful that right out the gate you've done a few things. You've planted the seed with the seller that, hey, this, when they're working with you, it's not just working with any fly-by-night person. There's a particular process that's going to have step 1, step 2, step 3, and that you're going to guide them through that. And then you also kind of prep them for their rebuttal of like, hey, the price point, they're going to want a certain price point, and you tell them right out the gate that, hey, it might not work for you, but you're still going to try and help them with a realtor if that's the case. And I love how and I've gone through the script a little bit already. I love how there's a lot of questions, and you ended with, does that make sense? So you're already getting a yes from them right out the gate, and you're already putting them in that mindset of repeating the yes word over and over. So I think that's really powerful, and that's really awesome. And before you go back into it, I just want to do a shout out to a few more people. We got Julian from North Carolina in the house. I don't know what the weather's like over there, but I would love to go visit you, Julian, North Carolina. Never been there. We got Taylor, Bruce, Cheryl, and Jarrell and Carmen, who's watching as well. Victor Alves also jumped in. Hey, Victor, hope you're doing good with the babies. Anthony from Naples wants a copy of the script. Now, just to let everybody know, we are giving everybody a copy of the script. Christian has been more than generous to not only go through the script, but also share it with everybody that's watching. So definitely just comment in the comment section that you would like to get a copy, and we will make sure you get it. So, okay, Christian, go ahead and take back over. Walk us through the next steps here.
all right. So the next step is really quick. It's just getting their contact information. You can ask them that. If you don't have it, what's the full name, what the address of the property is, what the best phone number to contact them back is. Make sure you want to know if this is a cell phone, because then that way you can text it. A lot of times we have great communication with some sellers over text versus phone. You can try and get an email if so you can do a follow-up sequence through email. Email's a little hard to get, so don't get too caught up if they don't want to give it to you. If they do say, hey, why do you need my email? Just say, okay, well, we just want to have it in place in case we send you your offer. We can email it to you. Simple answer. A lot of them will tell you, okay, yeah, no problem. Or they'll just say, whenever we get to that, I'll give it to you. And it's okay. Just move on. The next part of the script is where you're going to start building your rapport. This is where you're going to start having different conversations with the different personality types, right? So a driver personality, someone that wants to get to the point, they're going to want to go ahead and just not really talk to you a lot. They want to have to just like, all right, give me your offer. What's your offer? And so this works very well with them, because you can tell them, look, I can't give you an offer until I know what the condition of your house is. So let's go ahead and start telling me, can you tell me a couple of things about the house, beds, baths, what's the condition of the roof, plumbing, electrical, and AC? So for us to be able to buy over the phone, we need to know the 4 majors, right? So the 4 major points of any house is the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, and AC. Because once we know that, if we know that the roof is good, let's say they say, yeah, I just replaced the roof 3, 4 years ago, but the AC needs to be replaced. So what my team does is we actually buy them. We have like a set number, price per square foot for the rehab. We do from a cosmetic, a medium, and a heavy rehab. So cosmetic rehab is means the homeowner already confirmed that, hey, I replaced the roof like 3 years ago. The AC is good. The plumbing, electrical have been updated in the past 15, 20 years. They're all good. They can tell us that, and we know that it's just a cosmetic rehab. And each market is different, so you have to find out what the price point is. So like in Orlando, it's about $20 a square foot for cosmetic. However, in Tampa, it's $30 a square foot, so it's a little more expensive. And I know the people in Philly and their prices around 55, 65 cosmetic rehabs. So once you get into that, this also opens them up because if you have somebody that's a very amiable personality, somebody that wants to talk, and all your motivated sellers, they're gonna start giving you the information like, oh, well, the roof, I haven't been able to replace it, but it does have a leak. It does have this, and I just don't have the money for it. And then from there on, you can start having some questions and dig deeper into that motivation. Oh, oh, is that something you're dealing with financially? Different questions to get to really understand what their true motivation is. Because a lot of times, actually, about almost 99% of the time, no homeowner that is motivated really cares about price. They have a problem and they want to get rid of it. And price is really the last part of it. So after that, then we ask them, do you have any major repairs that you've done that you haven't mentioned? Here in Florida, we have a lot of sinkhole houses, so we want to know if the property has had a sinkhole and they've repaired it, or if there's some mold and mildew in the house and they've repaired it. From there, anyone living in the property, do they have a tenant? Most of we mail to a lot of absentee owners. So we get, yeah, I have a tenant. He hasn't paid me in 2, 3 months. And that kind of opens up all these questions do is get you the information of the condition of the house so you can make an offer without seeing. But then also it opens them up to truly be able to give what their motivation is, right? I've had a lady say, I had a tenant in there. He hasn't paid me for a year. And last time we went, me and my husband almost got into an argument and they were cursing at each other, ready to fight. So she's like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to go to the house again. So that was the motivation. She wanted her husband. After that, then kitchens, bathrooms have they been updated? And a lot of times people will tell you, yeah, the property's updated. I updated the kitchen, so my team will kind of go into more in depth of like, oh, okay, so the kitchen has granite. Does it have quartz? And that way we can gauge their rehab because somebody might have been like, oh, I hit the cabinets and that's a rehab kitchen. For us on the real estate side, that's not an updated kitchen. You still have to do more up to it. So they might be in the fact that the neighbor now sold for a certain price point. And they renovated their house, so they feel that they also did some renovation and that it should be worth the same. So these little things kind of give my acquisitions team answers. So when they start getting objections on price or different things, they already know how to overcome those objections.
So I have a quick question here, and before I get into that, do we have any questions from anyone in the audience or maybe even a Facebook Live? All right, looks like we have a question here. My main man, Edgar. Let's see if we can show Edgar over here.
Yeah, so back to the setting the stage. This is assuming that you're getting the calls inbound, right? This is not like you made a marketing campaign and they're calling you and you started this script from that point, right? It's not like we're cold calling these sellers.
Yeah. So if you're gonna cold call, it's just cold calling will have like another thing that you set it up first. So I have a cold calling team, and the way they set it up is they say, hey, sorry to call you out of the blue, but I was just seeing if you were interested in getting an offer for your property. If they say yes, then they go to the setting stage. Okay, great. So our process is really simple. What I'll do is just start off by asking a few basic questions. So with a cold calling, you can still use the same thing. It's just you're going to add that initial explanation as to why you're randomly calling them, right? So my cold team calls and say, hey, John. Yes, great. Hey, sorry to bother you and call you out of the blue. My name is Christian, but I just got the information from my partner who drove by your property located at blah, 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 and it seems like it might be for sale. We want to know if you were interested in getting an offer. If they say yes, no, this now gets rid of the question of, hey, how did you get my information? Why are you calling me? And you really want to get that information like the first 15 seconds of the conversation before they want to hang up. So if they say, yeah, I'm interested, then you just go to setting the stage. And so our process is really simple. What I'll do is start by asking a few basic questions about the property, and then we can go and evaluate it and give you an offer.
So it flows into the main body of the script,
Thank you.
depending on what the front looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, great question, Edgar. Okay, we got another question here in the back. But before we get into this question, anybody here watching Facebook Live? Can you give me some thumbs up, some hearts, some love here? And if you're watching Facebook Live, can you give me some heart? There we go. Now we're getting some love. Now we're getting it. Now I'm seeing it. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so we got a question on the back. Make sure to hold it close so we can hear you, okay?
Okay. So this actually may have to do with my initial marketing, but I actually had several responses to some direct mail, but the response was, yeah, I'm just calling to find out what the offer is on the property, on my property. And then, so it was almost like, and then I said, let's have some more conversation about what the condition of the property, and then immediately it was shut down. Oh, well, if you need all that, never mind. And so how do you bridge that kind of a situation? I was actually surprised because it happened a couple of times, so it made me wonder if something about my marketing initially was the issue. But I'm curious, have you come across that, and is that, do you have some ideas on how to bridge something like that?
Oh yeah, that's normal. We come across that
Okay.
like every
That's
day.
good to know.
So yeah, you're in the normal camp.
Okay.
You're I can tell you that's not a motivated seller.
Okay.
So one thing a lot of people do is they focus and they think that every single call is going to be a motivated seller, and it's not. So what I train my team really quick is to be able to move through calls fast, because we're getting a lot of calls, and I don't want them sitting in a conversation with somebody that is not motivated. If somebody calls you in just to get, a lot of times you'll get people just interested. They kind of want to see what the value of their house is, and they'll use you to just get that information. So if they say that and they say, no, I'm not interested, then it's easy conversation. Okay, well, would you want me to call you back in a couple of days or in a couple? When's a better time to give you a call? You can try that and try and see why they're trying to just get off the phone. And if they say, no, it's fine, be like, okay, well, I'm just curious as to why you called me. You said you wanted an offer. I can give you an offer, but I can't just randomly throw out a price. I can if you want me to, but it's probably going to be like $1 or $10, and I'm pretty sure that's going to insult you. So you can throw something out crazy like that and just kind of be like, oh, no, if that's going to be the offer, I don't want to. Or they'll open up and say, okay, well, yeah, this is a condition. Okay, great. Let's go, and I'm going to ask you these questions down the script. So that's how you can kind of overcome that one. But it's pretty common. You're going to get it. Don't get caught up on it. You just have people that just shop around to try and get information.
Okay. Good to know.
Good. All right. Anyone else have a quick question? Okay. Well, before we go into the next section here, I did want to point out the script, which is really awesome. Obviously, you have that initial setting the stage with the script. You kind of tell them there's going to be a process. You already tell them that you don't buy every deal, so you're prepping them. And then the next stage, you're going into just information gathering. You're just trying to find out the condition of the property. And let me ask you, while this is happening, obviously on the face, it's they're asking about rehab questions to have a better understanding of the condition of the home. But it sounds like in the background they're doing maybe like 3 more additional things. They're potentially building more rapport. They're asking questions to kind of build a better connection with the seller. Maybe they talk about how they had this fancy chandelier and it was from their grandmother or whatever, and that's an opportunity to build rapport. You're also, I imagine the team is kind of doing some research while the seller's answering the question, especially if it's long-winded. They're probably maybe getting an idea of what the property is worth, maybe doing some quick calculations so that they're prepared later on in the conversation. And then additionally, you kind of mentioned too that they're also, while they're information gathering about the condition, they're kind of listening to potential things, potential problems that they can use later when they come down to the negotiation phase of negotiating down the price. So if they say, hey, that roof hasn't been replaced, 20 years or 25 years, they're making mental notes of that so that when they're negotiating a price, they can bring that up as an additional justification or reason of the phone call?
Yeah, so while they're asking those questions, of course, my team is using that to first be able to figure out which category of the rehab the house is going to fall into. In the meantime, they are running comps. My team can run the comps between 3 to 5 minutes. Is all it takes for them to get a value. Then after that, in Podio, I have a built-in little calculator that pretty much they put in the ARV, they put in the rehab, and it spits out an offer range from like their starting point and then their max offer that they can go into. So that literally only takes about 5 minutes for them to do. It's very easily. Some people on my team that sometimes will just focus on the rapport building and then they'll call them back and give them the offer. Other people will be doing the rapport building and give them the offer at the same time. So they're all different how they do it. I don't really have like a standard for it. I just do what's best for them because that's how they sell, and I don't want to get into their sales process. But yeah, they're all building rapport using these questions to get the people to open up, tell you the real details about the condition of the house. Some of them will be like, oh, we had a lady. She's like, I'm so ashamed. I have so much stuff. My two brothers moved in, and then they passed away. But their stuff is here. It looks a mess, And the team tells them, no, it's not a problem. We with this. The situation is very common for homeowners. You're not the only one, so don't worry. And we use that just to different reasons to continue to build rapport and make them understand that they're not the only ones that are in this position, and they can feel comfortable and start trusting us more.
Okay. Well, before we go into the next phase of the script here, I just want to go into the comment section and do a quick shout out to a few people. We got, let's see here, we got Rebecca in the house and on live. So we got Daniel, Ethan, Freddie, James, Rita, Kenneth. Thank you for all jumping in and watching. Anthony and Cassie are in here as well. Anmar Jr., Dontriel. We have a question online. So this comes from Javier. He goes, how do you deal with folks that say, in quotes, well, I want you to tell me an offer? When you ask them what they're wanting for the house. So how do you deal with people when you ask them what they want for the house? They're like, well, I want you to give me an offer. Is that in your script?
Yeah. So we don't ask for what they want for the price until later on in the script because we want to build rapport first, right? If you just straight up ask them what the price is and they don't know you, they don't trust you, they're going to be hesitant, their walls are up. So that's why we always ask for the condition of the house. If they say, just give me an offer, then we just tell them, well, I can't give you an offer unless I know the condition of the house. I don't know if your house needs, $100,000 in repair or if it just doesn't need any repair. So I need you to answer those questions and I can give you a fair offer. If not, I can just shoot you whatever offer comes in, but I can guarantee you it's going to be very low and probably you'll get upset with me.
Something I'll just add on to that is, as you notice the way Christian mentioned, you want to redirect them into your script so that they follow the flow, so that everybody's coming through this funnel, because the script is your tool to increase your probability of predictable success. But there are going to be some people that are just straight, short with you and don't want it. And sometimes you just have to mirror their personality. And even though you're trying to guide them and they're still rejecting it, then just throw out a short answer to them, like, I can offer this amount. And then some people will respond and you can kind of guide them. Some people, they weren't serious or motivated to begin with.
I can tell you that anybody that is a motivated seller will always follow within the process.
Yes, because they want to work with you.
Because they want to work, no matter what personality type. Now, how the personality types will dictate how fast you move through the script, right? So a driver personality probably won't sit there and tell you their entire life story, but they will tell you the condition of the roof. They will tell you if there's a tenant. They tell you if the tenant isn't paying. They understand because they still want to have that problem solved, and they will answer your questions. If they're just absolutely trying not to answer any of your questions, then they're not a motivated seller, and you just move on. Don't get caught up on, hey, everybody that calls me is going to be a motivated seller.
All right, so Javier said, awesome, thanks. He's glad that we were able to go into that. And by the way, everybody that's watching, Christian is here on Facebook Live to answer your questions. If you have particular questions or struggles or hurdles or particular questions about the script, ask them. We want to make sure to cover them. I do want to also mention Rodney and Brandon and Jonathan jumped in, Alex as well. Hello, thank you for being a part of it. If you want a copy of this script, the script that Christian here is providing, that we are going over line by line here, all you need to do is just mention in the comments that you are interested and that you would like a copy of the script, and we will make sure to send it to you. If you want to do a little extra love and share this Facebook Live video, we would appreciate the share, the love, the support. But all you need to do is say hello and I would like the script, and we will hook you up. We will do that. So Christian, let's go into the next phase here. So we basically at this point, we told the seller, hey, there's a process. Let's find out a little bit more about your property. We're asking a lot of property questions to get an idea of condition and potential rehab. And then after you've gathered all that information, what happens next?
All right. So the next question is probably the most important question of the entire script. This question needs to be asked. Yeah, this question needs to be asked no matter what. So the next part is your main qualifying question to tell you whether this is a motivated person or not. So you go, gotcha, or you say, okay, great. So it seems like the house is in decent shape, or it doesn't seem like the house is in bad shape. Why are you consider selling? Why do you consider selling it? Why are you thinking about selling it? And once you ask that question, you have to stay quiet, because this is going to tell you what their true motivation is. They say, I don't need to sell it, I'm just asking. Probably not a motivated seller. If they say, I'm just old and I want to get rid of it, I want to travel the world, I just don't want to deal with these tenants, I just don't have the money for it, I just need it for different things, this is going to tell you how much motivation they have too. So that's why. And then in the next part, then you go into second layer and third layer questions, right? So once they start asking you and once they start telling you their motivation.
So, hey, can I do a quick interjection here, Christian? I just want to mention that you mentioned the why would you consider selling it, which is a really important question to ask. And I just want to highlight for everybody in the room and everyone listening that when you ask a question, two sides of a question. A question is only as powerful as the silence that you pair with the question, okay? So you have to deliver the question in a confident way. No, obviously you don't want to do ums and stutters and things like that. So that's why you have the script. It's really easy. Read it, ask the question, and then don't say anything after you've asked the question. You want the other person on the other side of the line to answer the question and give you the next response. And sometimes that silence will be uncomfortable, awkward, almost unbearable. But that's important, because that means that the person on the other side, their wheels are turning, their thought process is happening, and they're being thoughtful in the answer they're going to give you. There's a reason you're asking the question, because you're trying to get information from their response, their answer. So your silence allows you to get unfiltered, unmitigated response. If you break the silence, you're going to mess up your answer, your response. So I just wanted to highlight that, because that was such an important piece.
So, pretty much the way I ask this question is I say, okay, great. So it seems like your house is in pretty good shape overall. So I'm a little confused. Like, why are you considering selling it? And that's exactly like how I said it. Like, I'm actually confused. Like, I don't know why you are selling this house that seems to be in decent shape. Why would you do that? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't sell my house if it's in good condition. And that's going to tell you, well, yeah, it's in good condition, but I just can't deal with the tenants anymore. It's a headache, and my wife keeps yelling at me and telling me to get rid of it. Oh, really? How long has that been going on? We've been dealing with it for the past 5 months or past year, but past 5 months it's gotten really worse. Oh, really? What happened? What's made it worse? Oh, well, they've started damaging the property. They've started doing this, or my wife was diagnosed with cancer, and we have medical treatments, and I have to deal with that. And let's go. I'm so sorry to hear that. How is that affecting you? It's really, and then you just keep going and keep going and keep going and get them to just answer you as to their true motivation and then their feelings. You just want to get them in their feelings, really. Um, oh, I'm sorry to hear your wife's having cancer. Are you guys doing okay? Oh, well, we need money to be able to fund her chemotherapy for this. Oh, wow. So this house is probably going to be a great influx of cash for you guys, right? Yeah, it is. Well, so now let's say they answer it that way. Now you know their true motivation. Their motivation isn't money. His motivation is making sure he has money to take care of his wife's cancer treatments. So if there's ever any pushback on price later on, we can now use this as, look, you don't want to be dealing with this headache of a tenant. You don't want to be dealing with this house. You want the money to take care of your wife. Like, you never know when life can change at any moment. You want to make sure that you're living your best life. You're doing everything. You don't want this headache on your head. And I understand you want this much money, but your house does need some work, and I'm going to have to take care of this tenant. He's dealing with it. And that's not a problem. We can take it off your head, but you don't want to sit here and continue waiting for another 2-3 months just to get an extra, $10,000, and your wife's dealing with this. It's just going to get worse. Like, let's just stop the bleeding. Let's get done with it, and let's take it. This is the best I can do right now. So, like, that's different tactics that you can then use later on to negotiate your price if they want more than you're willing to pay.
Awesome. We got a question here in the comments from Jarrell. He says, so for those of us who are starting off, how do we get really good comps? What would you suggest in that?
To get really good comps, that would be an entirely different training program completely. I can spend hours and hours in showing you how to run comps, but the biggest thing is where you're getting them. The MLS is the best one. If you don't have the MLS, then use PropStream is really good. You can usually use Zillow too. There's a specific way on Zillow that you can run comps and just kind of get an estimate and then figure it out. But that would be an entirely different thing to get comps.
Yeah, like you said, Propelio's great, or PropStream's great. There's also Propelio. Depends on where you're at and what market you're in. Zillow is going to give you you can look at solds in the area. That's going to give you a general idea. And in these first conversations, you don't have to necessarily be 100% accurate. You just want to have a general idea so that you have an idea of what to offer to these people. But I wouldn't be too concerned about it. We had Junior who shared this video. Thank you for the love, Junior. James says he would love to have a copy of the script. We have a few people asking for it. We're going to make sure you get it. So, okay, do we have any questions here? Oh, we got a question. We got Rebecca in the house. Switch it over. Okay, she's getting the mic. You broke it. Time to broke it.
Hi, is it on? Okay, so my question is kind of going off of the last question that was asked. So I'm a realtor in San Antonio, so I kind of understand how to get estimates as far as market value and where you can kind of get the estimates. But maybe for somebody who's new or somebody who hasn't done their first investment deal or their first wholesale, as they're having these conversations, how do you get those estimates? Like, should we be hanging out at like Home Depot and trying to come up with these estimates? If we have a seller that says, okay, we need a new roof, or I do have foundation problems. I know your state's going to be a little bit different than San Antonio, Texas is here, but what should we be using, or what should we be doing to try and get these estimates as precise as possible? Because the numbers is what has to make sense for the end buyer as well. So what would you suggest us do as new investors? Should we, like I said, go to Home Depot and try and figure out these numbers, or with just years of experience, or what should we be doing to educate ourselves on that?
Honestly, Rehab is probably the best part of getting started. And unless you know construction costs, or you have a friend or family member that can do construction, Rehab can give you estimates, then yeah, you might need to go to Home Depot and just price things out and kind of have them there. So one thing I used to do when I first started was I would go, since I was working as an acquisitions agent, but we did all our deals were off MLS. I would go and take a look at the properties in the MLS, whenever I got them on the contract, and I would write down what would need to be done. And so then I would bring it back and I would actually just tally it up. So like, okay, I need a new kitchen, and the cabinets are going to be about $1,800. Then it's going to need about another 2,000 in in granite. It's going to have I'm going to have to do stainless steel appliance. Okay, so the kitchen's going to be about $7,000. So I put that in. That's kind of how I got started. And I also worked on Dispo. So when I started at Dispo and I would have to go show the properties that we had on the contract with the investors, I would just ask them how much for this kitchen, how much for the floors, how much do you pay for this, how much do you pay for that, and I would just ask all these numbers that they're paying. A lot of times they would answer it. They would just tell me, and after a while, I started just writing it down, and I would see that okay, most of them are always paying this much for the flooring, they're always paying for this, and that kind of gave me like a sheet where once I get a property, I can just say this. Let me just tally it up, and I would get it. After a while, then I was able to figure out that there was also another pattern in there, and that if it was with this condition, it was all within the price per square foot, and it would cover it. This other price per square foot cover this. That's kind of how I came up with my price per square foot rehab accounts. But as a new person, any deal you get or any deal that's there, just show it to investors and ask them how much they would cost. Show it to your friend or just go to people.
I'll just add on to that a little bit. So, as an agent, right, you didn't immediately know how to run comps. That came over time, and even now, your opinion might be different from somebody else's opinion. It's kind of the same thing when it comes to rehab. So it is going to be a bit of a learning curve. I will tell you, we're in San Antonio, so this doesn't apply to all markets. But what we found, kind of the generalities that we use, is if it's cosmetics, we use $12 a square foot. And it depends on the house. If it's a really big house, that kind of doesn't work. There's 5 major systems in a house. You got foundation, plumbing, roof, electrical, and HVAC. We do $15 a square foot. That covers all the cosmetics and maybe 1, maybe 2 major systems, depending on what's going on. And anything beyond that, we get bids. I will say when we're looking at our properties, we look at a lot of like really rough condition properties. We generally use 30 grand, 25 to 30 grand as our kind of basis point, as a starting point. And then what we'll also do is we'll just prep sellers. Hey, right now this is like a big rehab. I'm calculating 30 grand for this, but I am going to need to get some contractors and get bids. I might have to revisit our number that we came to agreement on if the rehab comes in higher. So I'll plant the seed when I was first starting out to kind of do that, right? But I would really suggest starting out, get as many bids as you can. Not only are you going to be building the relationships with the contractors and you're going to have people, you're going to find them for your own investments down the road, but then additionally, you're going to be getting bids from them on real life examples, which is going to allow you to learn. If you can be there when they're actually getting the bid, you can ask them specific questions. So you think it's this amount because of why, and oh, this is the problem area, and that's just going to come with time. But those are some generalities just to help you get started. Somebody said, great question, Rebecca, but I can't see who it is. So somebody really liked your question. Patrick, is this Patrick? Patrick over here representing, saying got a lot of value. Thank you, Christian, already getting the props and the thank yous and the love. Remember, we're going over this script, and we want to make sure that you get a good copy of this script so you can utilize it in your business today and get the help that you need. We're going item by item here with Christian. I know we got maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. But if you want a copy of the script, leave a comment in the comment section. We will make sure you get a copy. If you can share this Facebook Live, give a little love. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much. But Christian, if you can go into the kind of the next steps here of the script, as we're guiding them, you ask them kind of why they wanted to sell. What do we do from here?
All right, great. So once you've really gotten into their motivation, you got them explaining to you, you've gone level 2, level 3 into the questioning and truly got it, then you can start trying to then you can move on to the next section, which is finding out their offer, the price that they want for the house, and making an offer. So then you go once they say that, okay, I hear you. Well, let's see what we can do here for you. Now, let me go ahead and evaluate the area. But while I'm looking around, I'm trying to find similar properties based on the condition that you told me, what I see on tax records, as far as like, square footage, things like that. But while I'm looking around, do you have any idea as to what you think it might be worth or what you're looking at least to sell it for? So that way, that's one way I ask them. That's the first way I ask them what their offer price is, right? And I ask them multiple times before I actually give an offer because I want them to spit a number or at least spit a range. And so now they know I'm looking at different properties and I'm looking at the condition. So my offer is going to be based on the condition and other comps. If they know something, they'll usually just spit it out or they'll just tell you a price. Sometimes they will say, I don't know, just tell me what your price is. Okay, great. So now you're running your comps during this time, and the next part is trying to find out how soon they want to sell. Right. So I'm trying to look at some similar properties here in the area, and but quick question: if you did get an offer that made sense to you, what time frame were you looking more or less to close on? Right, a week, a month, couple months. And this is going to give you the motivation. Oh, I'll close on it tomorrow. I'll close on 30 days is fine, or 60 days, or I wasn't really thinking about selling until next year. But that's another important motivation question. And that also gives you time to run your comps. So it just lets them speak while in the background, my team is usually just running trying to find the value if they already haven't done it. Uh, the next part is, great. If we buy the property, we'll need to pay off taxes, liens, or mortgage. Do you know idea how much that is? One reason we use that is because my team sometimes does look at the mortgages that they have to make sure that our offer isn't going to be below the mortgage. Because let's say they have probably like $50,000 left in the mortgage, and our offer is going to be 35. That's probably not going to be an offer that they're going to accept because they're going to have to come up with $15,000 out of pocket. They're not going to do that. So we want to make sure that our offer isn't below they'll actually be able to afford or actually walk away with. And it also is another kind of filler question in the meantime, so that my team can run the comps if they still haven't gotten the price. And so the next thing is when we actually give a price, which is use a price anchor. So I'm
This is
looking
big.
here. Yeah, this is gonna help you deliver the offer without you getting cursed out or told that your offer is too low. My team uses this all the time on almost every single offer, and they don't have any problems with people being offended by it. Right. So I'm looking here in the area in similar houses. Are you familiar with? And we pick a street that's really close to it. That's like within, let's say our offer is going to be 50,000. We look at anything that's sold cash, uh, condition within about a tenth to 2/10 of a mile. And so, are you familiar with, you know 123 Main Street? Or are you familiar with Main Street? Yeah, there's a property that just sold for $45,000 and it's in great condition. So if your property is in worse condition than it, now you have a comp that you can use to help justify your value of why you're going to offer them, $30,000, $35,000, whatever you want. Uh, and it's going to tell you also, kind of a lot of times they answer you and tell you where their price is. It's like, okay, I'm looking here and this property just sold for $45,000. You want to stay quiet, right? Because then they can say, "Oh, that's too low." Really, I'm shocked something's selling for that much in that area. So that just these little subtle answers that they will give you without even giving you a price will give you an idea of where they're at mindset wise of what their price is going to be. If you say 5,000, oh no, that's way too low. They're probably looking to get a way higher number. So if your initial offer is going to be around 50, you probably want to go a little bit higher in your initial offer because you already know you're not going to get them all the way down to 50 just because of the mindset.
I love this. I think this is great in so many ways. When it comes to negotiation and making offers, a lot of it is based around psychology
You can also use it too later on to negotiate, right? So if their offer is still higher, you can very easily say, well, I would love to pay you more, but it's just hard. My so my We use an underwriter, like we have an underwriter, so that way there's a third party that my team doesn't. So the actual acquisitions agent isn't the one that seems to be making the decision. You can use your partner, you can use an underwriter, you can use whatever. But they pretty much say, okay, well, it's just hard because my underwriter, I can't get my underwriter to give me a higher offer because of this other property down the street. And like I told you, this property is in a little bit better condition than yours. I wouldn't pay. I can't pay more for that property than what every other house on the neighborhood is. So what price can you work with me on? What price can you do? Let me take it back to them and see if they're willing to go up. And then that way you can like seem like you're not the one making the decision, somebody else is, and you can get them on a lower price. You can get them to come down on the price to try and help them negotiate. So if they tell you a price or anything, you want to go with. I want to give you exactly what you like for the property, but I'm just struggling to figure out how to get there and make it make sense on our end, right? And you want to go quiet because quiet always works. If they told you, look, I want $60,000 and your highest offer is 50, you can say, I want to give you exactly what you want for the property, but I'm struggling to figure out how to get there and make sense. Stay quiet. They'll be like, oh well, if I can get 45, I'm happy with it. Or if I can get 50, I'm happy with it. Okay, great. So taking everything into consideration, what do you think is the best price? If they give us a price, we're always trying to beat them down on price and get them down lower. Okay, so I understand you want 50 will be the least that you can do it. Let's say 50 works for us. Let's still say, but taking everything into consideration, what do you think is the best price that you can do? And a lot of times they'll drop themselves a little bit more. Oh, I can't go lower than 57. All right, it's still a little too tight, and just stay quiet. So sometimes I'll go down and be like, all right, 45, 40. That's just like you'll get a bottom number, like 45, not a penny. All right, let's see. Let me go to my partner, speak to my underwriter, and see if that's a price that we can do. I'm not sure if it is, but if it is something that are you ready to move forward with today, then that's how you want to get a time commitment from them. Yeah, if I get $45,000, I'll sign today. Okay, let me put you on hold, or let me call you back in 5 minutes. And you actually want to wait so that you don't seem eager, and then you have the option to, you can even go lower. Be like, okay, look, I talked to them. I tried the best I could do. They can't do 40. They can't do 45. They came back at 42. And you can try and see if you beat them out even more. No, I can't do 42. If it's not 45, then we don't have to deal. All right, hold on. Let me go talk to them. Put them on hold for a few seconds. All right, great. I got them to do 45,000, but they said I'm going to send you the contract in the next 5 minutes. They need it back today because they need to allocate these funds. There's other guys in the company that are trying to get some property. We only have so many funds we can allocate for this week. I don't want to lose out on it. I really like the property. I think it's the best one. I'm going to make a push for it, but I need you to sign this contract today. Are you able to sign it today? Yeah. If you send it to me over, I can sign it today. Okay. When's the good time to call you back when you're in front of your email? Or are you in front of your email? I can send it to you right now. And so we do everything over DocuSign, and my team will call them back, make sure that they understand the contract. We'll go over the contract with them on the phone, and then we'll actually walk them through the process of clicking what they need to click and sign through DocuSign. Some people will say, no, let me look it over and I'll call you back on Monday, or different things. We'll say, okay, great. So what's a good time on Monday? Can I call you in the morning? Can I call you in the afternoon? And you want to lock down a time for them. But that's pretty much how you give a price.
So I just want to give you a round of applause for that. That was awesome. Okay, so there's a few things I want to point out here. This is masterful in a lot of ways. I do want to point out that in the script here, he has it item by item, and there's strategic procedure step by step that you're guiding them through this conversation. And this part of the conversation, it can be awkward and uncomfortable for people who are not used to sales and not used to negotiation. But he's laid it out very strategically for you and made it very systematic. Just follow this. The parts that I would really point out, notice in this section, there's pause for response, awkward silence, pause for response, response, go silent. And it's like you're only saying a few things and you're trying to get them to talk. You're trying to get information from them. That is critical. I hope you were taking notes. Are you taking notes?
Yes.
Where's your notepad? Are you taking notes over there? Are you taking notes? Where's your notepad? You're killing me over here. So this is really, really awesome. The other thing that I really like that he did is putting the onus on a partner. And so you're kind of in this situation is you're kind of you're like working with the seller. You're like on their team. You're trying to make this happen. And by interjecting a partner, the partner is the one that you as a team with the seller are trying to get them to agree. So it puts you in this playing field with the seller where y'all are working together. The other thing that is really critical that honestly my team isn't the best at all the time is the sense of urgency around the contract. Okay, so if you notice, he was like, hey, if we can agree to this price, or if I can get my partner to agree to this price, when can we get the contract? How soon can you get it? Okay, today, you can get it today? Okay, so if I sent it to you in an email, when do I need to do it? There was a lot of questions around timing, which is really important because, yeah, you can get them to agree, but if you let too much time go, time kills deals. So the more time you allow to go in, that deal has less probability of closing. So you got to put some urgency around it, and you have to guide them there too. When are they going to expect the email from you? When are they going to expect the phone call? When can you expect for them to send the information back to you? So there is a lot of awesome stuff here. I know we're going kind of long on this Facebook Live. There's a lot of great additional information in this script. We have like 2 more pages left. But rather than going into that, you can ask questions. I think let's ask questions and go into any specific information that we can help people with specific situations. So does anybody have any questions here regarding like maybe conversations that they've had or struggles that they might have, or anybody on the Facebook Live world that Christian can answer? What do you got? Okay.
I don't know, do you hear me?
He should be able to hear you.
Oh, okay.
Just keep it close.
Okay, so I have this situation where the seller wants to sell, but she has to consult all her siblings because they're also heirs to the property. But she has been waiting to consult them for like 4 months now. She's just kind of like, I'll do it when I'll do it. And they'll get back to me when they get back to me. How do I kind of surge that urgency into that situation? Did you hear me at all?
Did you hear
I
me?
lost you for a second.
Okay. You want to
No,
ask it
I
real
got
quick?
to the urge, and then that was.
Ask it one more time.
Okay, so the situation is I have a seller who wants to sell, but she has to consult all her siblings, which are also heirs to the property. But she doesn't have any sense of urgency. She'll consult them whenever, and they'll get back to her whenever, kind of ordeal. And it's been quite a few months. How do I get her to move things forward?
So first, she's probably not very motivated. So her pain isn't big enough for her to get her to do it. That's going to be a long-term follow-up to get ready for that. We've had sellers that we followed up for 6 months. We've had sellers that we followed up for a year. Another way you could do it is get the names of the heirs and then skip trace them and call them yourself. So that's one way you can buy her.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What their names are, who is it, and then just get them skip trace and get their information, give them a call, and just tell them, hey, I'm working with your sister on the property. She said she's interested in selling, so I'm just reaching out to see if you guys would be interested in selling too. If you are, then we can buy the house and just have a conversation with them.
And I'll actually piggyback on that. So in that situation, he's exactly right. She's obviously not motivated. if she wanted to make something happen, 4 months is like way too long. But that's where you have to come in and you have to show them your seriousness. Like, I'm serious. I want to do this deal with you. Are you serious with me? So the way you gauge that or you guide them is just ask them some direct questions. So whenever we encounter situations where they need to talk to heirs or talk to the husband and wife or whatever, okay, well, when can we all get together and talk to them? That's like the first thing I'll say. Oh, you need to get with the heirs? So when can we get all together on a group phone call so I can coordinate that? And just like assume that's the next step and just present it in that manner. And then then a lot of people, if they're serious about it, they'll make that happen and they'll try and coordinate with you. If they're like, oh no, I want to have conversation with them, they're likely still not motivated. This person's likely not motivated. And then I'll even ask even other questions that are direct too, where it's like, so, okay, great. Who, out of all the siblings, who's the main decision maker? And sometimes that ruffles a little bit of feathers. Sometimes they're like, well, I'm the decision maker, when really they're not, right? But, sometimes they'll straight up tell you, oh, the sister, man, she's the crazy one. If you can get the sister, then everybody's on board. Okay, how can I get in touch with the sister? Can you give me her phone number and coordinate a phone call with me? I'll just ask some really, sometimes direct, sometimes uncomfortable questions. Not to be uncomfortable, but to present in a manner that I'm serious. Obviously, if we need to get everybody involved and in agreement, then let's have a conversation and help me help you to make that happen.
Yeah. Another thing that you can also use is you can do a takeaway on them. So one thing, like I said, that my team uses is, hey, we have to allocate funds for it. So you can always call her and say, hey, I'm just trying to find out, have you talked to her? If you said no, okay, well, they told me that this offer is only going to be valid for another 3 days because they've allocated the funds. They've been sitting there now for 4 months, and it's past the cutoff limit. So they need to make sure they move them to other properties. And I don't want that to happen. I really want to buy your house. So do you think you can get in touch with them by Thursday and give me an answer by that time? Yes. Okay. Well, I'll call you back, but please make sure you get in touch because if not, they're just going to move this on to another deal and you're not going to be able to sell your house. That's going to give you either a gauge of where the motivation is. Because if they're not really motivated, they say, okay, well, that's fine. I'll find somebody else or I'll just keep the house. But if they are motivated, that's going to kind of put some urgency under them and make them actually want to call the people and get the information. They don't want to lose their offer. So you can always do a takeaway like that.
Jenny, do you know Juan over there? Juan, do you know Jenny? No?
Not personally.
Okay, Juan, there's one over there.
Hey.
One of his favorite closes is a takeaway close.
Yeah.
So talk to him about it. Give you some, do we have any other questions here? Questions? Yes? Okay, so we got a question on the Facebook Live, and then we're going to get close to wrapping it up here. We got Jarrell. He said his feed went out earlier when we answered his question. So his question is, for the new guys who have Podio and Propelio to full comps, what's the best way to get those comps? So just to recap what we said earlier, you can utilize Propelio, PropStream. They have actual sections in the software where you can say run comps and you just put in the street address. But if you don't have the funds for that, you can just go on Zillow and say sold comps in an area, and you can draw the map, just play around with it, and you'll be able to do that. So just as a reminder to everybody, this script is Christian's script that he uses with his team in Florida, that he's been able to do such high levels of business. They follow this to a T. Now obviously everyone's going to have different styles, right? But imagine this as one of the tools in your tool belt. And you want to have a very sharp tool to be effective. Look at the script, it's multiple pages, it's obviously tried, true, tested, and script. And if you want to tweak it a little bit, make it your own, make it your own. But utilize the actual structure, the skeleton of it to help yourself be effective. We're giving this away for free. Christian has been kind enough to do that. It took him many, many years to develop this, believe me. So take advantage of this opportunity. This is going to help you propel even faster. Just leave in the comments that you would love to get a copy of this script. If you can give us that extra love of some likes and comments and shares, we really appreciate the shares. We can do that. Christian, can you tell everybody how people can find you and what you got going on just from like a social perspective and how people can just keep in touch?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. I'm usually more active on Instagram than any of the other platforms. At my Instagram handle is at Christian Marin _ official. You can also find me on Facebook, Christian Marin, and my YouTube channel, Christian Marin. So those are, but Instagram is definitely my most active one. I'm always doing stories all day, every day about just being in the office with the guys or being at a house or just dropping different tactics that we use, different things. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again, Christian. Thank you for taking the time and putting in the energy and sharing the script and really breaking down the information item by item here. Can we do one more round of applause for being here, Christian? So we're giving you the love all the way from here, San Antonio, Texas. A lot of these people in the room will be in the comments section, and they'll also be reaching out to them, to you. So definitely follow them, Christian. They got some pretty exciting things going on over here too. And we want to just say a big thank you one last time for all the time, energy, and the help that you've given everybody here on this Facebook Live. It's been a joy to do this.
Appreciate it. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody. I hope this helps people get a deal.
Hell yeah. Yep. All right. Peace.
All right, man. Later.